Alright, well, welcome to my fun world. What we have here is the little winch mechanism that holds up the spare tire on a 2008 Chevy Colorado. I believe it's probably the same for all the cabs. I've got a crew cab, but I would think they would keep it the same. Alright, this is a little different from the other videos I've seen. They mainly say about the Chevy Silverado. Their mechanism that causes problems is actually part of the shaft that lowers. But what I ended up doing was taking off the whole mechanism with the spare tire in place because I just could not undo this. Alright, and I just want to demonstrate what seems to happen and maybe what we can do to prevent it. So, where we are sitting now, the camera here is basically sitting almost behind the license plate, let's say. Alright, you end up taking one of the accessory shafts that supposedly comes with your vehicle. Mine, thank you to the used car dealership that I bought this from, I have no jack, I have no lug wrench, I have no shafts to stick in here to lower this on the vehicle. So I had to improvise a bit, but it still didn't work because this thing all was gummed up. So what I found is this is a rectangular hole in here, and a 3/8 inch drive fits in very nice. Okay, it's a square drive into a rectangular hole, but hey, yep, it does work. Okay, what you may need though is you may need, let's say, 2 long extensions on this, or you can, if you're good enough, you can fabricate something if you got a shop. But basically 3/8 inch, looks like it's almost 1/2 inch going this way, but 3/8 inch fits in really nice. Okay, so what is supposed to happen is, as you lower this, okay, that's actually raising it, but as you lower this, okay, this spring mechanism that's on on this rotational shaft here is supposed to move this lever. There's a flap here, okay, and this flap is supposed to be in this position towards me, held in. There's a spring right here. All right, I'll show you later. I'll take this out later, but this, holding this in, brings the flap in like this, and it prevents, right? There's a mushroom head on top of this shaft, okay? And what happens is, with it in, it's supposed to prevent it from falling out. So if for some reason there was a catastrophic failure with a cable, the tire would not drop onto the road and make a really bad day for the guy on the highway right behind you. So it's probably mandated by the government anyways. So what they have here is this. So when you go in with your shaft that you will have, I don't, okay, and you go to lower this, as you rotate this, this is supposed to push the lever out of the way. So now, instead of being like this, it's like this, and it's going to allow that mushroom head shaft to drop. Okay, what happened with me is, because I live up in the Northeast, there's a bunch of corrosion, right? And this froze into place because this is its normal resting place for 3, 4, 5. This is 2008. Now it's 2015. So 6 years of just sitting there. This may have never been taken down. So this froze into place. So as I'm moving, it did not move. So basically, I might as well have had this like this, right? It's because it was not moving that. And as this dropped, okay. Okay, what happens is you get to a point where it's not going to go anymore because that mushroom head is actually sitting on this plate. So I'm just going to raise this back up. Okay, and what's supposed to happen is this, when you lower it, it's supposed to move it out of the way. And you're doing the right way. Okay, and you're spinning, you got the shaft, and this drops, and there, okay? There's that mushroom head that lever, that plate, prevents it from dropping, okay? what you have is this plate right here. Okay, you can see that. That's the plate that moves in and out. This little leaf spring here is supposed to just give it enough pressure to keep it pushed in, and this guy, as you rotate, is supposed to bring it out. Well, thank you, GM. Basically, you just have metal on metal and really no clearance in here. If they had left a 1/16 of an inch gap on each side and put a little 1/16 inch nylon washer, a little plastic washer in between this face and the lever, this face and the catch, we wouldn't have this problem. But what happens is this locks into place. You get a bunch of corrosion in here, especially, like I said, being up in the Northeast with all the salt in the roads. It just locks into place. And this, you have no force. You cannot put enough force because it's just a slip on this. Okay? So, I ended up taking this out. I lowered it a little bit, but then the safety caught. So, I ended up with the tire loose. The tire is still here. I couldn't take it up. This actually sits like this. If this camera's at the license plate, this basically is sitting off like at about a 25-degree angle off to the side. So that you could, it's to the, on my Colorado, it's on the driver's side of the license plate. And you go in with the shaft to lower it. Well, what I ended up doing was, there's one screw that holds this in, one bolt. It's a 15mm head. Okay? So I ended up taking two extensions because I got to go up through, and then I also have to go through the tire. I went through one of the holes in the rim of the tire, went up through, took it out, but being it's only with one bolt, what they have here is this little hook assembly. So it just sat there basically like that. Okay? So what you have to do is with the tire sitting here and I'm underneath it, I'm trying to lift things with my knees and my chest and my hands. So pushing this up to get it off of the lip on the frame, and you got to kind of pitch it out. And then it just drops out. I recommend doing it on a nice warm day, nice dry day, as opposed to, you know what's going to happen? You're going to be on the side of the road in the pouring rain or the snow, and this thing is not going to work for you. You're going to need to get that down, and you're not going to be able to. So I'd recommend maybe a little preventive maintenance and drop this, or at least see if it drops on its own. But once you have it out, underneath the truck, even if it's mounted into the truck still, make sure that this lever assembly is moving fine. If it's not, take it out. And what I'm planning on doing, and I've already started, is I'm going to, I've die grinded this. I'm going to pop out this pin that holds this in. And I'm going to see if I can get this. I don't know if I can. It's kind of like a tight fit there. But I might be able to get this out. Once I got this, I might be able to spread it enough to get this out. Once I got this out, I'm just going to grind down each side and put, like I said, a 1/16 nylon plastic washer in between. And then I'll get a stainless steel bolt, and I'll put a lock nut on this side because I don't want to compress it. I don't want to put force on this, so I'm going to compress it in again. I want this thing to move nice and easy. This should just fall back and forth. So I'll put a lock nut here just so that it's not going to back out, but there'll be no pressure on this. So hopefully it will move proper into lock position, and then when I want to undo it, unlock position. If I can't do this, and this, I'm not going to recommend anyone else do this, you take it on your own, but if for some reason I can't get this mechanism to work and I can't get a new one, I'm going to see about just taking this and, you know, it'd be nothing to take out this this guy, and I'll just make sure that or I might even just leave this here and take this guy out and just make sure this is locked up in the open position to allow this to go in and out with no problem. Okay, so that's it. Good luck with your situation. Hopefully, this will avoid a mess for you. Thankfully, like I said, I didn't have to do it. I didn't have a flat. I just knew that there was going to be an issue from what I saw, that since I didn't have anything for this, no accessories, no jack shafts, So I decided to try and take it down, and I'm glad I found this out here as I'm in my garage, as opposed to being out on the side of the road. So, as I said, it's a 3/8 inch, at least on the short side. On the long side, I'd say it's a 1/2 inch. So if you had a 1/2 inch by 3/8, that would work. Or just like I said, a 3/8 inch extension, a couple of them. I was actually trying to make one, but it turns out this ended up a little bit short for me. So yeah, this is your whole problem right here. Okay, good luck, guys. Okay, well, hello again, boys and girls. Hopefully this is the final installment. It should be fixed. What I ended up doing was going to my local hardware store. Got some stainless steel bolts. These are actually metric. Got a lock nut. Rather than compressing on this and causing this undue stress, I got a lock nut so that I could just tighten it down and leave it where it is. The actual lever mechanism, the locking mechanism, this used to be the width of this, but what I did is I took it to a die grinder and I ground down both sides, made it nice and smooth, and I painted it just to keep it from rusting. Also installed some nylon washers on each side, plastic washers, just to make sure it's not going to be metal on metal and rust again. Another stainless steel bolt, bit longer, that's the lever assembly, with a couple washers to just keep this from flying off. It seems to work much better now. I did have to re-rivet this on. This spring that presses it in to lock it ended up popping off, so I ended up having to drill out the rivet that was there and put in a new one. But this is, I believe, how it's supposed to work. So, when you crank it up, this retracts. This spring here, hopefully you can see it, the small spring here pushes this down, and as you're bringing it up, it just goes in and then locks into place. Okay, so really it's not going to fall. So that mushroom head is above the locking mechanism. When you go to lower it on the vehicle, you end up, as you press, you can see how it releases. As I go counterclockwise, it actually releases the mechanism. Now, normally you wouldn't have, let me tighten this down again. Normally you wouldn't have, hopefully I'm not, alright? So basically it just loosens it and allows it to come down. So my system, my restoration, seems to be working. Alright, so now it's locked into place. And then, alright, so that's locking it into place. And when you want to lower it, there, it's out of the way. That allows it. Just having a little bit of drag there on that. And of course you got to figure you're going to have a tire pulling down on this. It's going to be free floating, but the whole system comes loose. Alright, so I think I got a winner here. Okay, so I'm going to reinstall it into the truck bed. Alright, so the locking mechanism's reactivated, or it's working proper again. It's moving back and forth nice and smooth, and it's moving as it should with all the mechanisms. I just basically had to replace the bolts. I did put a little bit of it's like clear RTV here on for this washer, just to adhere to here. If you wanted to weld it, you probably could. I just didn't, feel it was necessary. So basically, I just adhered this washer to the head of the bolt, and I also kind of did it down here at the other side, just so that they're not floating free. Just kind of creating a cradle for this lever, so that it's not popping out and things aren't floating around. So that should do it. I'm just hoping I never really have to take it down ever again. Especially for a flat tire. So, okay, hopefully this video helped you and, you know, eliminate a bunch of headaches that I had to go through, right? Enjoy! Enjoy!